they want to keep you in a low vibe state, in a sick state, so they can just keep profiting off of your suffering and your disease and keep you enslaved. You can't think straight. It's like it shuts off your extrasensory abilities, and so.
Did you notice any extrasensory abilities coming on when you went vegan?
Yeah, it was wild. Like just going plant based, it was like a spiritual journey in itself. Because little backstory, I was basically an agnostic my whole life. My parents were raised Roman Catholic. They introduced church to us and stuff, but it never resonated with me and my brother. I would like make fun of people for being religious growing up and stuff. But anyway, yeah, very far away from God and not religious at all. And so going plant based, I like I said, it was like a spiritual awakening. Within the first 30 days of going plant based, I felt so good on a physical level. I was like, holy crap, I had no idea you could feel this freaking good. And I was already like at my bodybuilding prime as a standard American bodybuilding diet eater. And so shortly after that, I was watching slaughterhouse footage. I already knew about it and everything. And then one day I kind of felt hopeless at this point, because like you learn about all the horrors in the world and all the crimes being perpetrated, and the level of evil is just insane. And so anyways, I was watching slaughterhouse footage, and these particular slaughterhouse workers were like kicking and stabbing animals before slaughter, and it was just infuriating me. And like I broke down, and I finally like just yelled out to God if God was listening. I was like, what do you want from me? I was like, does it even matter if I'm vegan? Like, what do you want from me? I was literally yelling, and as if God was listening to me. And I was like, can I even make a difference? Like, I just kept shouting that. And then once I asked those few questions, instantly, I knew nothing about like chakras or anything like that. But after I asked those questions, this energy just came through what I would later understand to be the crown chakra, and just lit my whole body up. Like, it just felt like this surge of energy, and like my hair stood up, and it just felt like the most loving, energetic sensation I've ever felt in my life. And with it came images and flashbacks of my past. And I was also shown like third-party perspective, like aerial drone footage of like, it seemed like aerial drone footage of like the forest and stuff, and the land that I was personally responsible for destroying when I wasn't vegan. And so God was showing me like, one, it was like, I love you, I'm real, but you're also a hypocrite. Like, you're judging these slaughterhouse workers for something you paid them to do practically your whole life, and you were never sorry for that. You were never repentant for all those sins or unloving actions that you did. And I was like, holy crap. And I just started bawling my eyes out, and I started like lowering myself out of my office chair, crying and getting into the fetal position. And then just the whole while, God was just like embracing me. I felt so unconditionally loved. Like, I wasn't judged, but God was just showing me like that I was a hypocrite, and to make me aware of like the reality of my own decisions. And the feeling was indescribable. There was no like spoken words, but it was like just an energetic exchange of information that I was able to like later translate in my mind into English words, right? Because like what I came to realize is God doesn't like speak human language. God speaks to your emotions and your emotional body,
right.
And that energy and that transmission of communication just transcends like space and time. It's instantaneous. So it's like here I was, the agnostic, almost atheist, angry at like God and the world my whole life, was being spoken to by God energetically, and feeling so much love for the first time ever. And yeah, it was like the feeling I can only compare it to is like what I would imagine it to be if I was like an orphan who was like abandoned by my parents, and like so angry and resentful for them for abandoning me, but then like realizing God was there all along. It was the choice to know God or not was up to me. And this was here I am, the first time in my life actually asking for help from God, and bam, God's there. I was like, holy crap. So I had to feel the sadness about that, and like, man, I just cried for like hours. And with it, I just kept asking God more and more questions about life and veganism, and God was just reassuring me the whole time, like, you're on the right path, but have compassion for your fellow brothers and sisters along the way.